you guys, what's up? I'm Morgan and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining me. Today's video, you guys, is all about some questions and answers, okay? I asked you guys on Instagram as well as right here on YouTube in the community tab. Do you have any questions that you would love to know or want me to answer specifically, whether it's business, personal, my life, whatever it is, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. And the response was amazing. I got a couple here on YouTube. I got a lot on Instagram actually. And so I'm just going to go back and forth and answer a lot of those questions. I'm not going to say who asked the question. I'm just going to kind of answer them in general, and then there's some that were like repeat questions, so I'll let you guys know what those repeat questions were as we go along. But I'm going to jump right into this. This is actually a question that came from YouTube. This was a longer form question. It was like a bunch of questions into like one, so I'm going to answer a lot of these questions because these were actually really good, and some of these have never been asked, so I want to get to this one first. Okay, so one of the questions was, how do you manage your emotions when dealing with product and social media content deadlines and like my home life? So I'm a pretty like lighthearted person. I see good in everything, to be honest. And when it comes to like my content deadlines, when it comes to my brand and just my home life, it's the same thing. I'm a firm believer in the energy that you put out is the energy that you will receive. So I almost never have any negative like energy around me or things like that. So when I am actually dealing with my products and I'm dealing with social media content, I like to keep things as simplified as possible. I am a very minimal person in my approach, and I like to keep things that way just throughout my life because it's easier for me to maintain, to be honest. But as far as like deadlines and things like that and how I like keep my mental space pretty leveled, all I do is set a schedule for myself. Obviously, every schedule is not permanent, it's not a must-do thing. You can kind of go in and out of that schedule. So for me, I try to keep on schedule because I'm not only operating one business, I'm operating a few. And so a schedule is just better for me and my life, and my mental space needs to be clear. I need to be able to juggle being a swimwear brand owner. I need to be able to juggle being a business coach. I need to be able to juggle taking in strategy calls and things like that. And I'm kind of being pulled in all different directions, but everything comes back down into one little bubble, which is me. So I check myself before I do everything. Okay, I start off my day very lighthearted, clear my mind. I don't deal with stress. I don't deal with negativity because that can kill you, and I ain't got time to be dying. I got stuff to do. So that's pretty much how I can answer that question. I just keep my energy in check, and when my energy is good, I think it kind of radiates to everyone else, and they know to keep it that way with me. You know what I'm saying? So another question she asked was, what was the defining moment that made me aware that swimwear creation was my passion? So the real ultimate defining moment was I was going on vacation. We used to take an annual girls trip every single year, just my cousins and I have a huge family, so it was like 15 of us, a girls trip. And we were going to go, and when it came time to start packing and stuff like that and like buying stuff for vacation, I noticed that I couldn't find a swimsuit that I liked. I couldn't find a swimsuit in the style that I liked, the cut that I liked, and that kind of solidified everything in my sketchbook. Because weeks before that, I had been sketching and different creations and things like that. I sketch all the time just because I have a fashion background, so I sketch things all the time. But I noticed there was a huge pattern in creating swimwear, and it's because I couldn't find the swimwear that I like. So I started designing my own swimwear. And again, when that vacation came, I had 2 pieces that I cut and sewn myself. They were custom just for me. And when I wore them, I was getting compliments left and right. I got compliments while I was on the beach. I got compliments while I was out, like we just at the bar, like compliments like, oh my God, they're so cute. Who made it? Where'd you get that from? And I'm like, girl, I made that. So that just was a defining moment, especially because all the swimsuits that I've seen were only the ones that were being advertised and like affordable and things like that. They were just the same cut and style, and everybody had the same thing, just in a different color, and I didn't want that. So that's what helped me understand that this was the way to go, because I was very passionate about it, and I'm still passionate about it. I haven't lost that urge to create. So What are 2 things you do when you wake up and before you go to bed that help you get into your routine of creation, and whether it's concept designs or content creation, and what helps you power down and pull away from that creative flow? And this question, I'm going to put that into another question that was asked on Instagram, and is, do I have a morning routine? I don't have a morning routine, you guys. I am a night person. Okay, I'm up in the morning, but I don't have a routine. My routine does not start until about 5 p.m. So in the morning, I do the normal things that you would do, which is wash your face, brush your teeth, you know, like do your hair, put on some jewelry, get dressed. That's my morning routine. But it doesn't really start, my day does not start until about 5 p.m. And that's just how I naturally have a workflow. My workflow starts in the evening. That's when I'm the most creative. That's when I get the best ideas. And I think it's because it's calm. Like the day is getting more calm later into the day rather than a fresh start. I don't need a cup of coffee when I first wake up in the morning. It's too much for me to process any morning. So I just kind of chill in the daytime, and then around 4 p.m. ish, 4:30, that's when I start getting the urge to come into my studio space and start working. So I work better throughout the night, and that's just, it's always how I've been. And I also don't need a lot of sleep. So you know, that's just how I am. But when I power down, that's a real issue, okay? Just to be fair, my real issue is being able to power down. I don't take that like too well. I know when I should power down, but I be trying to push through. And when you try to push through when you need to power down, you just end up messing things up. So this is a learning lesson for me. The last few weeks, I have been listening to myself and saying, you know what, enough is enough. You've done enough work today. You always have tomorrow. It's fine. You're still on schedule. It's fine. So you just need to power down. So I just power down when I know that I finished my big task, and I always do my big task first. So if I do the big task first, then I have no issue powering down later with small things. I can just leave it for the next day. Was your childhood one that you say surrounded you with support of your creative endeavors? If so, how? If not, what barriers did you overcome to keep your goals in mind? So I had a very epic childhood, to be honest. I tell people all the time, my childhood was pretty epic, and I think that all of my cousins and my siblings as well can say the same. I am one of 6 kids. I'm dead smack in the middle with my sister. So it was pretty epic, to be honest. And this is coming from a child who didn't know she was spoiled or sheltered. Okay, I had no clue. Okay, and that's what I mean by epic. There was never one of those things where you were a show off. There was never a moment where I felt like I had more than someone else. There was never a moment that I felt like I had less than someone else. And that's just a happy balance. And I think I owe that to my mother, because she was a single parent and she maintained our integrity. She maintained like the lifestyle that we had and everything. And I never wanted for anything as a child. And I think that's just because of my mom and how she raised us. Like, we are very respectful kids. We were, in school all the time. She didn't play that. So we were in school. We did what we had to do. And our childhood was just amazing. So when it comes to our creativity, or mine in particular, just speaking for myself and not my siblings, when it came to my creativity, I was the standout kid. I was the middle child. We don't need those stories. I was the middle child, which means I was very protected because I had 2 older brothers, but I was also the kid that had a lot of responsibilities because I had, at the time, 2 younger siblings until my little brother was born. I had younger siblings. So there was a lot on my plate. And I think that put me in a little bubble of having to be creative to stand out and be my own self. And the creativity that I had and all these things that I was trying to do, I had a very supportive environment. My brothers were always kept talking me, and then my mom was always supportive. She's like, if you like it, I love it. If you're not hurting anybody, go for it. So I never had an issue with support, especially within my immediate family. I never had those issues at all. It was more so me keeping myself motivated or not being too hard on myself when I failed at something. So I just had to learn how to deal with those things, as I became an adult. What was the other question? How do you decide when you select pieces for each campaign launch? Do you have a system for this? That's an interesting question. I don't have a system. I don't have a system. But when I'm designing, when I'm sketching and I'm kind of in my zone, I tend to sketch things based off of current times. So like, for instance, my last collection, I was designing based off of an essential piece that I wanted that I couldn't find, and that was a high waist bottom that was also high cut. I needed that. I wanted that. I could not find that anywhere. So I designed it myself and I sold it to my audience. And then I wanted a top that was a tie top, very versatile, because that's what my brand is starting to be known for, is having the reversible or very versatile tops where you can tie them multiple ways, and you can also double them as an everyday type of top and not just a swimsuit. So that's my process, is designing things that I want, and if I like it, I feel like other people will like it too. I don't know if that's just like a a mental thing, but it turns out it's been working. So that's just my process. How do you decide when... No, I just asked that question. Answer that question. What was the other one? Oh, have you run into issues of protecting your intellectual integrity of your brand and brand or designs? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. One of the things that I love about this YouTube channel is that I get to share information, and that I get to share my brand story, and that you guys have been crazy supportive of my brand, and a lot of you guys are customers of my brand. And then on the other end, you have people who just watch your channel and they never say anything. They just sit there in the background, which is awesome because I appreciate you being here. But you know that I know when I'm saying something and I'm speaking of certain things and I'm doing certain things and I'm showcasing certain things, that sometimes it will go into somebody else's mind and they'll think it's their thought, their process. So it happens, and it's happened I think twice now, where I put out something, I said something, and I showcased it online, and maybe within like a couple of weeks later, I see the exact same style that I did and pretty much the same color that I did, and it's like, wow. That's awesome. I honestly don't care. I think that if you can sell it, go for it. I don't care. Fashion is fashion. If you want to copy designs, that's something that you have to deal with on your own mental, your mental time. That's something that you have to deal with. That's not for me to process. I personally don't care. But yes, dealing with my intellectual property, it sucks when you see it, because you're like, damn, I spent like months creating this, and now you just want to duplicate it? Okay, great. But it is what it is. It's going to happen. This is why I don't stress about it, and more power to you. Because you worked in many facets of the fashion industry, which besides designing and creating a business is one of your favorites? Which pushed you the most? I think the best part about working in different areas of fashion was being able to work in PR. I worked in fashion PR. I started off as an intern, and I worked as an intern for about 7 months. And a lot of people were like, I cannot believe you're doing a free internship. When I started, because I was in school at the time. They was like, I can't believe you're doing a free internship. And I'm just like, chill. And then as I start working there, the first week, I wasn't doing anything in PR. Like, the first week, I was pretty much just packaging orders for people and sending them out. That's what I was doing. But it was like the best experience in the freaking world, because I was able to learn how PR works. I was able to get firsthand tips, advice, and everything for my own brand, which I was creating as I was in school. And I worked directly with the PR agency's owner. So even though it was a free internship, there was no one at the time. I was the youngest person there. There was no one at the time doing as much work as I was. I was being sent to every photo shoot. I was being sent to pick up the packages, run these errands. I met so many people within 7 months that I still have those connections to this day. And so, yeah, it was a free internship, but I accepted a free internship because I didn't need any money. I had a job. I was going to school. I didn't need any money. I was doing this for experience alone. And the experience that I got cannot ever be replicated, I don't think, ever again at that time, for like being the age that I was and things like that. So working in fashion PR is a lot, because people think PR is just packaging and public relations, but really they're at photo shoots, they're at fashion shows, they're getting all the product in, they're showing you why they're sending product to certain people, why this product is going to this person or this celebrity instead of this celebrity, what makes the difference. All these key elements was crazy. I learned so much. Like it was probably one of the best experiences that I've ever had. If I ever have the opportunity to create a fashion PR company, I will do so, because it was awesome. She said, am I aware of how beautiful I am? Thank you for letting us pick your brain. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Another question that I got from YouTube was, how can I produce so many swimsuits to sell by myself? Okay, this question, I actually got this question a lot when I told everybody that I was manufacturing my own collection. So what I did was, once COVID hit and I realized that my manufacturing process had literally came to a dead stop. It didn't come to a screeching halt. It came to a dead stop. The manufacturer closed, shut down, shut the doors, and didn't give me a timeline for when and if they would be open, because we had no idea, according to the news, when things would be up and running. So just from the reality of everything, my manufacturer did not open until just a couple of weeks ago. I think 3 weeks ago now. So I would have been pushed back the whole season if I would have waited on this manufacturer. I didn't have time to do that. So what I ended up doing was going to pick up my designs. I said, can you just give me the patterns that we went over, blah, blah, blah. So I got the patterns and I brought them home and I started the process myself. I knew for a fact that because of my sewing times and my sewing speeds, and I knew how to sew my pieces. My problem was I had to narrow down how many pieces I was going to be able to produce on my own. So I went with a 4-piece collection over the collection that I was going to do with a manufacturer, and I knew that I can get those 4 pieces out in a timely manner, and I knew how long it was going to take. I spent about a week and a half cutting fabrics, and then I spent about 3 weeks sewing all these pieces together, and then I had a full collection, and then that's when my collection went live. And then I did the same thing again. So when my collection went live, I had a week of break, and then I started my collection process again, design process again, of narrowing down how many pieces I would be able to sew. And that's what I'm currently working on now, because I have a few pieces that are about to launch and come out so people can keep shopping, because I am extremely low stock right now on my website, and that's because I'm manufacturing everything on my own. So it's going to come down to your timing, your time management, and how disciplined you are, to be honest. And I'm pretty disciplined, so I didn't really have a problem just staying focused on one thing at a time. So here's some questions that I got from Instagram. What keeps you motivated when business slows down? When business slows down, it's actually a great opportunity for me. Like right now, business is slowing down because I'm running out of things to sell on my website. And that has to do with not going through a manufacturer and doing everything myself. So I'm doing everything on my own, and I'm like extremely low stock right now, especially since running those Facebook ads. My product is pretty much almost gone. The site is about to be wiped out, but it's a great thing because I've been wanting to change the format of the website and make it more interactive and cool. So it's perfect timing, to be honest. So, I think things come to you when they're supposed to, and they're supposed to happen when they're supposed to happen. As far as motivation, when business slows down, I just take the opportunity to work on new skills. I work on that. I use that downtime to start sketching more, to start looking at different marketing plans that I can do for my brand. I look at my audience. I start doing a lot more audience and market research when I have downtime, and all those things that I do as far as research, it helps me out for when it's time for me to start restocking, when it's time for me to start promoting again. So when you have downtime, use it wisely. Use it like crazy, okay? Because there's no such thing as a lack of information when you have this here internet, okay? So use this internet to your advantage and search, problem solve, and execute all those problems that you have solved to and for your audience. So as far as motivation, you have to be your own motivation out here, okay? You can't look for anyone else to motivate you, because nobody else is going to put in the work for your brand like you will. Another question was, do you ever sleep? ? Seriously. I sleep. I'm not gonna say a lot. I don't sleep a lot. I can operate off of 6 hours of sleep, 5.5, 6 hours of sleep max. After 6 hours of sleep, it's too much for me, and it actually makes me very groggy, makes me very tired throughout the day. I kind of almost crash if I get too much sleep, and it's because my body is not on its own pattern or whatever. So too much sleep is not great for me, just for me. I'm a highly functioning person with only 5.5 to 6 hours of sleep, and that usually happens in between like 2 a.m., 7 a.m., 1 a.m., 6 a.m., like around those times, because I go to sleep fairly early in the morning to begin with. But no matter what time I go to sleep, for some reason, I am always up no later than 9 a.m., 10 a.m. No matter what time I go to sleep. I can go to sleep at 5 and I will still be up at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. max. So, you know, I do get sleep, but I only need a little bit of it. I don't know how people sleep longer than 6 hours. It bothers me. Another question was, how do I get customers that aren't family? How do you get customers that aren't family? And then she put the laughing emoji. This question was hilarious. I said that on my Instagram story, that this was probably the funniest question that I had, and it's because I can relate to this question. If you didn't know, I did not market my brand to my family whatsoever, not even a little bit. I didn't go out of my way to market to my family, and there's a big reason for that. The reason being is, when you start marketing to your family, you have to deal with your family's interpretations of you. Okay, now although I have a pretty excellent rep as far as like my discipline, as far as like my creativity, as far as like all the things that I can do, I have a pretty good rep with my family for all those things because I'm known for being a creative person. However, when it comes to your personal brand and your actual physical brand or product or whatever, if you're looking into your family to start buying your products, you're looking in the wrong direction, because your family is not your target audience. Okay, you're not targeting them, so their opinion honestly does not matter. It absolutely does not matter. And also, another thing, when you're looking at your family, you have to understand that your family knows you. They know you personally. Okay, so they know how disciplined you are. They know how many times you have started an idea and stopped an idea, because family gossips. So they talk a lot to themselves. Okay, so they know all of your natural patterns, so they're going to look at you starting a new brand, and they're going to take that brand and say, we'll see how this turns out. They're going to be supportive. Low key, they're going to be supportive, but you have to understand that your family knows you best. And also, a lot of times, family, when you're starting a business, you're breaking those generational curses. So if you're starting a business, they don't know how to start a business unless you've been surrounded by family that has a bunch of businesses or family businesses, and that's usually not the case within Black households. Okay, so you're going to be breaking those generational curses, and they're not going to have any understanding of that because they've never put themselves in a position to do that. A lot of times we are coming from families who are protecting us and raising us in a protective mode because we have always been known to be in survival mode. So get customers by targeting the people that you want to target and keeping your family out of your business, period. Family and business, it's the reason why they say it doesn't mix. It only mixes when you have a family member that is into the same things as you are, and you guys link up and create magic. Other than that, you should be over here, your family should be over there. They should be loving you and supporting you from a distance, but you don't have to expect them to do anything. Don't expect anybody to do anything because nobody owes you anything. So if you want customers who are not your family, keep your family out of your business. Okay. Another question was, how many yards of fabric for a new collection, and how many suits can each yard make? A rule of thumb is, I like to say that 1 yard of fabric makes one swimsuit. Okay, one piece like swimsuit. When it comes to bikinis, which is the top and the bottom, obviously that 1 yard, you'll be able to cut more pieces, and I would say you can get about 4 to 5 depending on the style of the bikini. Because if something is high waist, obviously it's going to take more fabric, so you're going to lose a little bit more yardage. If it's a low rise, you're going to be able to cut a lot more within a yard. When it's a one piece, you're going to get a front, a back, and maybe a couple of straps out of like 1 yard. But if you're doing seamless styles, like I offer on my site, if you're doing seamless styles, you have to keep doubling that because it's front and back, especially if you're using the same color. If it's not a reversible style where you're using two-tone colors, whereas one color is this color and the other side is a different color, then you're going to do the same thing on the opposite fabric and it's just going to be replicated. So I would say a good rule of thumb, especially for one pieces, is 1 yard of fabric. If you're doing obviously extra smalls and smalls, you probably can get 2 out of 1 yard, and then the larger the size, the more yardage you will take up. 2 more questions, and I'll keep the rest for another one. Would you consider a manufacturer to help you when your orders are really big? And then she put big in making each bikini. I would say if you can start the manufacturing process, if you can afford to start the manufacturing process, then go for it. A lot of people say, don't start manufacturing, it costs too much, and I tell you guys this all the time. You can just look at the comments. I tell people manufacturing is expensive. It's not a cheap process, okay? You have to be able to afford something. And what I say, when I say afford, I mean, if you can't afford to pay for something twice in cash, you cannot afford it, because you're going to be going outside of your budget to create something that you cannot maintain. So if you can afford something, even if it's a small production, and you're going to be okay with spending that money, and you're not going to be searching desperately to make that money back, then you can afford manufacturing. If you cannot afford manufacturing, then you need to lower those levels a little bit and see if you can hire someone more local, meaning a local seamstress or something like that, and really find a seamstress that works really good. I had someone DM me a seamstress that did their work, and I said, you need to open up a small claims because you didn't pay for that. So if you can afford manufacturing, by all means do it, because you will understand that process a lot better as you grow, and it's just a smarter approach. You pay people to do things that you can't do, you know what I mean? So you're going to spend money no matter what, but you need to be able to spend money within your budget. The last question is, do I have a manufacturer? Can you tell me what the manufacturer is? This was a repeat question that I got over and over and over again. It's, do I have a manufacturer? Can you tell me the manufacturer? Do you have a vendor? Can you tell me your vendors? It was the same question. Here's my answer to that. I do not have a manufacturer. If I was to recommend a manufacturer, I would tell you guys over and over and over again that my manufacturers probably won't work best for you, because I don't know your budget. So there is a manufacturing company here in Los Angeles. They're called Lefty Productions Co. They're very good. There's another company, I can't think of the name. Crap, my mind just kind of went blank. There's like a bunch of manufacturers in Los Angeles, and I don't know where you live. So in Los Angeles, I can just pull up real quick and get quotes left and right, but that doesn't mean that they're the best. It just means that there's a variety to choose from. So that's what it is. I'm not keeping information from you guys. It's just that I'm not using any of these companies right now, so I would not feel right about recommending them to you if I haven't fully completed a design process with them. I completed one manufacturing job with someone. I did not like the process, so I will not recommend that company to you. As far as vendors, when it comes to like my packaging supplies and all this the custom stuff and things like that, I use different vendors. I don't use just one vendor. I never probably go through one vendor. I probably never will go through one vendor, because I find affordable prices all over the place. So I'm going to go with who gives me the best quote and the best work. And so there's tons of vendors. What I can say is, if you're just starting off, I highly advise you to go onto Etsy or download Etsy onto your phone. There are so many independent designers on that site. It's crazy. And if you're looking for some custom work, like custom swimwear bags, they're on Etsy. Most of the companies will manufacture it in China, but the companies are on Etsy, and you'll get a better quote on Etsy than you would on like sites like Alibaba or something like that. So I would suggest you going onto Etsy, searching whatever terms you want to search, custom work, custom packaging, all that stuff, and find a supplier on there first. If you can't, then you can go to Alibaba and try to source your way through that website. As far as the linings and stuff like that, you can go on eBay, search swimwear linings and all that stuff, and you get a very good price, like $10, $15 for a bunch of products. So do that. But I'm not keeping vendors from you guys. It's just that I don't go through a lot of vendors, to be honest. And because I have a Cricut machine, I can pretty much do all the same stuff now on my own. So that's what it is. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A. I will save a lot of the questions that I got for another Q&A. I'll also post when I'm going to do that, so you guys can ask other questions if I didn't answer some of the questions that you may have had. But thank you guys so much for sending in the questions and supporting me in this channel, supporting me in my business endeavors, supporting me in all my businesses, because it means so much to me. A last little thing before I leave you guys is, if you did not know, or if you don't follow me on social media, please do. My links are down below. I do have a course called the Branding Boss Blueprint that is set to go out on August 24th, but starting on August 17th, I will be having an early bird special, so you should take advantage of that and get in, okay, where you fit in, because all the prices are definitely going to have payment plans. The course is really affordable, but there are payment plans if you cannot pay in bulk, obviously, for the first full payment. This is a 5-module course, and it's going to take you through every single phase of creating your brand structure, so that way you do not have any shortcomings when it comes to defining your brand and understanding your brand. And I will be talking more about that throughout these next few weeks until the brand launch on my social media page. So just follow me there, and I will see you guys in my next one.